Okay, for all of those, yeah, we are recording, and because sometimes the people they miss, and then they have the opportunity to attend the session maybe digitally, just off the shelf. So thanks again to Mim that I received this invitation, and that's always when I'm saying VUCA makes the world go round and VUCA makes the world connect, and this is really what happened. And I'm really curious about people. Even I know one of the attendants here, I already greeted him. Both thanks for your coming and to Belgium. I'm located in Germany, and it's really a pleasure for me to have the Bennu Community today at my VUCA world, and I'm quite excited to have the opportunity to talk with you a bit about VUCA. What is the VUCA world? And we will have about 45 minutes. I think that's what we calculated so far. And I can promise you, please be interactive, because I'm very much about collaboration and co-creation. And this is what I already want to tell you and invite you to. So just a few house rules. In case that you want to turn off the camera, of course, you could do this. Sometimes we have an issue with the internet line, so then kindly turn off. Otherwise, I really love to see faces, because if we are not able to meet in person, then at least it's a very good idea to have your faces and see your smiling faces, maybe. Also use the signals, your maybe curious faces, maybe your whatever faces. So let's get into communication, even in this digital room. And please feel free to ask any question. Please use the chat function. And in VUCA times, we say there is no right, no wrong. Just do it, and we will solve it out. And we will have, after I gave you some introduction, we will also have at the end a slot where we can exchange the Q&A and just serve you as well as possible. I will be able to. So what we planned, Mim, you and me, we decided on this agenda today. We said, okay, we are just about welcoming you, short introduction. And at the start, we would like to have a short check-in poll with you, because we are curious about your motivation. Why do you join at a time on a Saturday? In Germany, it's 5 o'clock. At some places at your end, it's even later. Why are you joining? What you already might be knowing about VUCA, and then of course it's always interesting to learn about VUCA in your context. What does VUCA mean within your organization, within your context? And then we will have a short wrap up and draw some conclusions, and we'll head for next steps. So today you are talking to me. I'm 59 years old. I'm a former manager, and I'm dealing with VUCA for many years already. And as Mim said, I have the website, I have the VUCAworld.org, I have a German website. You can check on me. So I think there isn't really no time to spend on introducing me personally. You have the choice to experience me. And then you know who I am and what my motivation to deal with VUCA is. So, and this is already a first thing which I want to introduce you. That's what I can do. I can offer you an introduction to join this session, to join our community and our collaboration and our co-creation. So I really love these two hashtags. Maybe you know the hashtags co-creation and collaboration, as well as co-opetition, which is a word which means maybe we might be competitors, but it's always about competing for the best solution. So if we said there is no wrong, no right, please feel really invited to go to have this co-opetition, and we will really struggle for the best solution, for example, because we love what we do. And I like to listen and understand. And that's very important in a VUCA world. If the world is not black and white anymore, if we have different perspectives, then we value this diversity and this multi-perspectivity. And therefore, it's very important to understand. And I mean, this is a good news. Relax and be open to understand first. You are not about to act, but just to understand. Because I'm always saying, you know this saying, think without the box. I say no. Please refrain from thinking with any box. Please think with no box. What would be your life if you thought with no box? Because even thinking out of the box means there is a box somewhere. So this is my other invitation to you. And this also leads to, we are committed to an as well as approach. So, you know, very often you have this, but, yes, I'm talking to telling you something, and then you say, yeah, but, okay. And I say, oh, interesting, why not? So this is the mode I would like to invite you to this commitment of the as well as, rather than yes, but, or either or, which is mostly the thing we are used to. Whenever you should have a question, kindly use the chat, as Mim already said, and then we will watch the chat, and then we can answer your questions immediately. So we are curious to learn about you. So this is what we would like to know from you. I mean, it's about your motivation. It's just a pit stop teaser webinar that we are focusing on today. And we will first have a glance on VUCA itself. So what is your motivation to spend your time to join this session? And yet kindly answer to this poll. And you have the options, and you can choose either or and all of them. Maybe your main aspect is to know the term VUCA. I know people, they haven't heard about VUCA at all. I know people, they say, oh, VUCA, I don't care about VUCA. It's just about the consequences that cause it in my context. And the third party very often is, oh, regardless, I need solutions. I need to create economic value added as well as a personal value added, and yeah, really have an interpersonal value added. And also maybe you might be interested to become a part of this VUCA worldwide community. And I can tell you, I have a lot of requests from really all over the world. And we are just about planning how to install this worldwide community. So it's your turn now. Kindly give your votes, and then we will see the results of this check-in poll.
So maybe it could be good to wait a bit more.
Of course, yes.
Yeah. Good. 12 people already answered.
12 is not bad. We have 16 minus you and me. So 14 would be perfect. But if 12 is already there, let's...
it's enough.
I think, okay. Yeah, it's representative at least, yes. Okay, so what do I see? That's very interesting. At least it's half of the group who wants to know the term VUCA and to either also to understand the consequences caused by VUCA, yes. And by the way, this will be very much a question back to you, because you will tell us what are the consequences of your VUCA in your context, and also to have an economic value added, interpersonal value added. That's the most, the biggest part, and becoming of the VUCA worldwide community. I mean, this is a question before you don't know what it is about being part of a VUCA community. Of course, maybe you might not be interested in it at all. Thank you very much. So this at least means we got a feedback. What do you say? Do you have any feedback on that?
I think we have to think more about those sessions we already talked to. I mean, continue this kind of activities in the future.
Indeed, indeed. Yes. Okay. Thank you very much. So I will close it. Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we go. So it's you. I want to learn from you. Please tell us, if you were asked, what is VUCA? What would your answers be? Either you use the chat function and we read it. You could also, of course, I mean, Mim, is it possible to have to unmute and maybe have also a voice?
Yes, now it's possible.
Yeah, okay. So kindly, we are curious to find out, if you were asked, what is VUCA? What would you answer? And I will check the chat as well. And if somebody of you wants to say something, just start, please. What is VUCA? There is a, please be courageous, because we don't have right or wrong. Here I see a hand, and I see Fatima as well, and me, maybe you may watch, maybe you have to follow the full audience, and we just start with let's start with the alphabet. Ala.
Hi, thank you. I'm sorry, Mustafa, because of my surname, I just become the first person. By the way, by C, I think it's, and by your explanation, I think the C is the collaborative part of this abbreviation. And based on the previous pages, I think we are talking about a kind of word which is not within limits or to be the bonds of the countries and just those geographical terms. So this is what I can understand from the word and from the beginning of this session. And we had the chance to hear the word and to just search for the abbreviation, but I just want to just go with the brainstorming thing and to, what reminds me of something or those kind of stuff. So I think the VUCA word would be something beyond geographical bonds of cities, countries, and some free word for people to collaborate and cohabitate.
Very good, very good. Thank you for this answer. And by the way, I didn't hear this idea about VUCA so far. So thanks for that. That's really enriching. Thank you. So let's listen to the others. I see, most likely I will not pronounce your names correctly, but I see Moshtaba. Is it Moshtaba Abasi?
Yes. Hi.
Hi.
Do you have my voice?
Yes, we do.
Okay. I was searching about a model of management, by the way, I think 6 months ago. And I came to this word and I became familiar with VUCA, which is volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. So I was wondered how we can handle this world and how we can move in this fast world, and that changes are so fast, and we have so much ambiguity, we have so much uncertainty, we have so much complexity. And there was I heard about agile method, and I started to study about agile methodologies and agile agile management.
Yes.
So
frameworks most likely.
It was the relation between the VUCA and agile, and now I'm using Kanban. I don't know, I'm using Trello. We all use these tools, but I think little of us know how. What is the I don't know.
The real
what
meaning.
Is the philosophy behind these tools?
Yes. Okay. So very good choice that you are here today. So because we will learn about it. Thank you very much. Okay. So really, first of all, it's an artificial word. It's an acronym, and let's look at what it makes. What makes the word VUCA, and what does it mean if we are talking about VUCA? It's very interesting that this is an old word, I always say from the last century, because we're in the 21st century, and this word is coming from the 20th century. So, and this is very important to understand that this is nothing new, and it's an acronym. An acronym is simply a word, it says an artificial word. So especially the Americans, they like it very much to take some words like volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity, wrap it up into an artificial word, and this makes VUCA. And the interesting thing is that if you looked at some of the information, it was really first used in the 80s of the last century by two professors, by two teachers from a university, and they taught not the students, they taught the leaders, they taught the managers about how they have to be aware of these impacts of volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity within their organizations. And this is what I like very much, that it's not coming, like mostly said, it's not coming from the military, it's not coming from the American War College, who still took it over, because after the world changed, and for Germany, for example, it was a great change because we didn't have two Germanys anymore. We have been united as one whole country. For us, it was really a very good start into a new world where this multilateral world after the end of this Cold War was really possible. And since the American War College took it up because they were thinking, okay, if the world is really in an unorder, we had an order for all the years, at least the last 30 years before, how can we find an orientation? How can we focus? How can we understand what's going on in this world? Because of the end of the Cold War, these two parts of the world, the eastern and the western part of the world, mainly set as the two big dimensions, it was coming to volatility, it was coming to uncertainty. The world was much more complex and it was much more ambiguous because there was no right, no wrong, there was multi-perspectivity. And since we have this COVID-19 pandemic 2.5 years ago, I always say this is really the VUCA for anyone, because anyone in this world really experience what it means if the things are not stable anymore, if you get into insecurity, if you don't know what's heading up, what does it mean for me, if you don't understand, okay, what rule do I have to stick to, what does it mean for me, for my organization, if we will look at the whole world, all the restrictions and all what happened in this world caused by the pandemic of COVID-19. And so whenever you ask people, okay, what is for you VUCA? Very often they answer it's the COVID-19 pandemic, because this was the first time that really this disorder of the world was a thing in common for all of us. And still, and this is the thing, how do we deal with it if the world is full of volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity? And at least VUCA describes the situation of a constant and unpredictable change that is now the norm for our lives and encounters us with lots of changes to deal with. And I mean, this is a good news as well as a bad news. We had the industry 1.0, we had the industry phase 2.0, we have industry 3.0, we have industry 4.0. We are even talking about industry 5.0, which means not many people know industry 5.0, which means that all the digitalization is really should be much more for use for us humans, yeah, really should help make our world better. But what changes is that the periods between one level to the next is even shorter. So the time is getting much more dynamic. We are talking much more about disruption. So we're talking much more about not linear developments. We don't have any causal root cause, and then we have an effect, or we can maybe understand, okay, what is the root cause? There might be even different root causes for a same phenomenon, and we don't understand it simply. And this is what our brain needs. We need to have a kind of understanding, okay, what's going on in this world? How do I grab this? Yeah, and this is what VUCA should help to understand and to describe what is no longer describable, because there is no right, no wrong. Everybody of you would see, for example, let's take, we have in Germany, we have a very big problem with supply chains. Yeah, even some industries, they stop production because we are much more related and depending on not only China, but also on other partners worldwide. Or take the war in the Ukrainian war. the war of Mr. Putin, yeah, this is really, we are heading for a very hard winter time, and we don't know where to get the energy from, the gas and all this, and we don't know where to stand on which side, because we in Germany, for example, they are saying let's really don't have more embargoes, because this is really destroying our industry. But we say if we don't have these embargoes towards Russia, then maybe Germany is one of the next countries that will be also faced by a war. So if you believe, if you consider all this, yeah, this is really dramatic. And things that have been intangible, we didn't think about after we had the Cold War stop. We didn't think about to get back to this situation as we are in now. And so we need to create orientation, and we want to encourage decision making under conditions of constant change. So, because the good news is, if we are talking about volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity, first, we are able to understand what are the impacts on my context. And then we can have the next step, okay, what could be solutions? And one main thing about dealing with VUCA is always understanding and grabbing for where do I have influence on? But first, we need to understand what's going on. And that's what we want to do with you today. If you see that the world is really getting from, that we have, for example, a very low uncertainty, that we have a very low, high ambiguity, that we have a high complexity and a high volatility, that we first understand, okay, how is the issue on my side? What is the impact in my context? And by the way, when I asked people, let's say 3 years ago, what is the main impact of VUCA within your world? He or she was answering, it's the complexity. Currently, the answer has changed. And I will tell you no secret, they say it's the insecurity, it's the uncertainty we are facing to. But let's see what your answers will be. So our idea is that we will learn from you what VUCA phenomenon is dominant in your context. It might be one of the four, but maybe it's even all of the four in a different way, in a different impact. And I mean, what we thought is that we will discuss it in the group. And our idea is that as we are a community, we want to give you the opportunity to exchange within this group. And our idea is that we want to go into breakout sessions. We will have about 10 minutes time box that you will discuss what is the main impact. And then afterwards, decide in your small group who will maybe do a short presentation just to let us know what is the result of your exchange in the breakout room. And we want you to tell us, okay, which aspect of VUCA do you experience the most in your organization, with your customers, perhaps in your context? How does this show? And this is just a little framework. This is what we want to face on. If you are looking, okay, is it a volatility? It means it's a very high speed, it's rapidly changing, it's unstable, you have a high fluctuation, or is it maybe more the uncertainty? It's because uncertainty means the things, the situations, the world is difficult to predict. You have uncertain causes, things just happen and you don't know where it's coming from. Maybe it's a complexity where you have multiple parts, very high interconnectivity, and it's difficult really to understand because it's just maybe chaotic. And the ambiguity means that it's difficult to assess and it's unclear, it's ambiguous. You don't know, is it right, is it wrong, is it black, is it white? So what is it? Yeah, and this is what we would like you to invite to go within these breakout sessions into an exchange and let us know your results. So are you ready? Are you willing to follow our introduction and invitation, right? Okay, I see thumbs up. Okay, very good. So what we said, we will do the group selections by random. So be curious about who to meet in your breakout room. Be positive to discuss. Just consider there is no right, no wrong. take as much of the group as you can do, and then afterward, let us share the results of the small groups. Mim, what did we, how shall we create a group? Shall we with 20 participants, or it's gone, the group has grown?
No, everything is okay. Yeah, and I can open all rooms as well.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think?
Everything is ready. I mean,
yeah, okay.
Yeah,
so then the audience had a thumb up. So then see you, enjoy the time, and we are
in
curious.
10 minutes.
Yes.
Okay.
We are curious to learn about you, VUCA world. There's one group coming. So this is already good news. So VUCA world didn't disturb us too much. The technique was working properly. So because sometimes that's always a good excuse. I say when, for example, if the technique doesn't run well, I always say, oh, sorry, it's my VUCA world. Yeah. So we can really apologize anything by VUCA. This is good news.
So far, so good. Yeah.
Yeah, so, but you know, the next lesson we will learn about the VUCA solution, so then no excuses anymore. Okay, here we go. I see all the participants back from the breakout sessions, and I hope most likely you will mention, okay, 10 minutes was too short, but anyway, maybe it was to have a glance on the VUCA of the others, because we are curious about learning the impacts of your context, of your maybe situation in regard to VUCA, and who wants to share with our team, with our group here, the results of the breakout session. Anna, again, I see your hand up. Kindly start, please.
Yeah, we just discussed the the kind of the word and the how that resonates with us. Mehrush talked about the thing that's somehow maybe common when you're just facing this kind of word, the vulnerability, and just mentioned and referred to Brené Brown's book. And then I talked about the thing that we can see those 4 concepts in our day-to-day life, just because the way that the word just functions these days. For example, everything is just changing fast and furious sometimes. And then we have the uncertainty in each big and small decisions that we want to make are based on those uncertain things. And you need to just face some big, small, or complex problems with ambiguous situation of the word. And in a nutshell, you can just say, okay, everything is changing. You need to act as fast as possible and as right as possible. So the ambiguity cannot just be a barrier to you and to stop and just to weigh things.
Yes.
So Mehrush also mentioned the way that people just join these concepts to the way to solve the problem, or for example, to face with those. For example, for volatility, I think you need vision to have a kind of perspective. And then for the uncertainty, you need to understand the situation well at first, so that you can at least have your next step in your mind, because it's not possible for you to see all the way. And then complexity needs clarity, I think. You need clarity to see what is the problem, and for example, I think, what is your role or the thing that you can do. And then the ambiguity needs really the agility, because if you're not agile, I think you're always in this kind of vague position, and you're just figuring things constantly without doing anything. So this is what we came into in the find that way.
Very good. And this is already a glance to what we will have in another session. You are speaking about this VUCA positive prime, and I see within your group there was already somebody, or maybe some persons who are a bit more experienced with really substituting this original VUCA into solutions and approaches, methods, frameworks, for example, like agile frameworks. Thank you very much. This was very interesting. Thanks.
Thank you.
Welcome. Who else wants to share with us the results of the breakout session? Just go ahead, please. if I don't see hands. Kindly unmute. Mim, do you have to unmute the participant?
They can unmute by themselves.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
as I see Sarah and Fatima both raise hand.
Yeah. Okay, then go ahead, please. Yes.
Yeah, I can start.
Yes,
Maybe.
please.
Yeah, we talked about uncertainty in our group, as we are all of us were Iranian, and we think that the uncertainty in our Iranian lives is more maybe more than any other nations in our daily lives, especially in economic or political situations. So we think that this uncertainty, since 40 years ago in Iran, everything about price and economic was uncertain, and I think that this uncertainty helps me because after the COVID, before the COVID, this uncertainty of the future, because of these difficulties to prediction, actually these things stop me from starting new things and maybe experience some new things. But after COVID, I accept this exception and this admission of uncertainty of all of the words and all of the situations. Not only the political or economical, even it can be social and other things, or technological. So this uncertainty helped me after COVID to think more positively about the starting new things and experiencing. So that was about uncertainty. I think that's a positive, maybe it could be a positive point from experiencing new things, because now we know that all situations is uncertain in the world and nothing could be predicted, very specified.
Yes, and you know, Sarah, this is very, very precious, because what you are talking about is really gaining and really enlarging the personal resilience. It's really about gaining resilience, because resilience is also one answer to VUCA. And if you really adapt uncertainty as a common thing, and you really look for, okay, what does it do to me, and where do I have influence on? How can I maybe adjust? Yeah, then it's about resilience, dealing with difficult situations and still keeping head up and really looking at the resources you got, because maybe you cannot predict, but still you can deal with it. So very good. Thanks very much for this feedback. And by the way, I see you see the group 1, 2, 3, and 4. Just disregard this, because I asked you to mention maybe, or to check on all the phenomena and just see what the most impact is on each in your context. And Fatima, you are the second. I see the next hand, and then I see Mohammed Imad. I also see it as another hand. So Fatima, we will have some more time. If you are flexible, then of course we can spend this time. Fatima, kindly go ahead, please.
Yeah, sure. Hi, Waltraud. It's very nice to see you. I'm just thinking that because I'm host here, so I just not to type first, but it's okay. I'm just part of this group. So before that, I go through what happened in our group. I just wondering that, and it was actually interesting for me. My friend Sarah, and also all a little bit, and my group mate, all of us, because we live in Iran. I figured that the condition, situation, and our location is very, very important regarding to choose which of this concept is more effective in our life. Although we have a motto in our guru from India, he said that in their business, the most important part was complexity. But from me and in my idea, and also Hossein idea was uncertainty. As Sarah mentioned earlier, we did these years recently, we have faced with so many difficulties in our countries. And so it's although it's very, very like difficult, and we face a lot of barriers, and we cannot have long-term planning, but the thing in my idea, the thing that happened, it's there is something like we called weak signals. We are not like consider that, we are not like used to use and just think about this concept. So I guess the complex between something like uncertainty and ambiguity in our idea. In summary, I can say that.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Fatima. Thank you.
No
And Mohammed Imad, is it still you who want to raise the voice?
Yeah. Hi, Waltraud. Thank you so
Hi.
much for giving us this opportunity, and bringing us all together in this wonderful session. I've been going through your website for quite a while now, but I haven't, had the time to go through completely. But yeah, just briefly, I had gone through, and luckily I had set a reminder for this meeting and joined it. Thank you again. Yeah. And regarding the breakout session we had, Sarah, Mushtaba, and I were in a breakout session, and we discussed, as you said, in the beginning about industry 1.0, 2.03 and 4. So the advent of steam engines, the advent of electricity, computers, and now the internet and data, how things have changed and how much uncertain the future looked for people back then. When the steam engine was invented, people thought that we would lose our incomes. When the electricity was there, people thought things became much easier, and a lot of things mechanized. People thought we'll lose our jobs. There was a lot of uncertainty, and how people overcame, everything in the end points to unlearning and relearning. So whatever we have learned, we have to unlearn and relearn. So this is what we discussed. And then, today, the world, the changing world order, the lot of issues that we are facing, like climate change, food security, fragmented supply chain, rich and poor divide. So all these are exacerbating the situation, creating more ambiguity. How the gas prices have gone up and affected in Europe, how the food prices have gone up because of the Ukraine situation. So we discussed these things, and there is a lot of uncertainty. People are, the situation is so volatile. You cannot make any, if you want to start a business, it's not very easy. You don't know people whether they're going to buy your products or not. So this is the discussion that went on between us.
Thank you very much. There's nothing to add. And at least, as we say, it's good to talk about, because this is what makes people really maybe feel embarrassed, feel insecure, and so on. And so this is it's very good that you express what you are experiencing, because this is the first thing to really get in touch with your needs. Because if it's really, for example, bothering you, it's very important to name it and maybe to express it, because this is really already one first step into a solution. It might at least ease the situation. And maybe the more you hear from other guys here in this group, or even in a VUCA world, that they face the same situation, then at least maybe you see, okay, it sounds maybe a bit stupid, but you are not alone. Still, we could look at the collaboration, at the co-creation, at the co-opetition, how to find solutions, which would be a next session then. Thank you very much for this feedback.
Thank you.
So do we see any other hands, or does another group want to share the results with us? Nusha.
Hi.
Go ahead. Hi.
So me and my teammates first we talk about decision making. That's in this time, if you make any kind of decisions, it will affect a lot of things, a lot of factors in your life. So you have to be very careful, and it's really risky. And we also talked about identity crisis that we've had in this period of time, because I think it's a really challenging time, and it can make people doubt about themselves, and it's also a kind of situation that maybe we're not completely familiar with. And also we talked about how we can't make any long-term plans, and we should just decide bit by bit.
Yes.
I think that's it.
Thank you very much. And I just want to pick up one word. Just let me type it. being courageous is also a personal decision. And if things are not linear anymore, if things are not causal anymore, causality. So if you really don't understand the logic behind, then you really have to be aware that the old logic will not solve the problem, and you need a new logic. At least you must to be courageous and decided to decide. That's one sentence what you will hear whenever we talk about solutions. Where do I have influence on? For example, I can really first grab, okay, the impact of the VUCA phenomena, and then what I'm able to decide upon. And, there is no right, no wrong. At least it's really about learning. It's about unlearning. I like this very much. And it's good that you already mentioned it, because sometimes we also need some space in our brain. Yeah, we have to move or put things aside so that there is some more space for new things, for example, and thinking with no box also takes some space. And this is very good. And maybe just no risk, no fun might be a saying, but still, even learning from your countries, I think most of you are very experienced in taking risks and seeing how it can be worked out still. Thank you very much. And this was very interesting to learn about your context. And this is what we would like to offer to you in our first session today, because I will show you just one thing at the end. This my saying is, luckily it's only VUCA. Why do I mean this? Because you all stressed this idea. We are living in a world which is not brand new. Still, maybe we are facing new situations where we have to think a bit around the corner, or where we really have to refrain from old thinking. Still, it's up to you to have this attitude, the so-called mindset. Luckily, it's only VUCA, and we can, for example, look at solutions, approaches, how to deal with it. So, but let us get back to what was in for you. You all spent at least almost 60 minutes of your lifetime here in this session. And again, thank you for the opportunity to have this chance to get to know you and work with you in this session. So, did this webinar create further interest in your VUCA facilitation? Was it yes? Was it no? Is it maybe interesting for you to receive further information? And please specify in the chat. And you will also find I gave you a link to a film which you could maybe even watch after the session. And I will stop sharing the screen, because I think that's more interesting, that we maybe see each other much better. So, Mim, it's up to me to really thank the whole group, and it was a very, where is the time gone? It was really short, quickly running time. So thanks for this, and thanks for this interaction. I like this very much, because it's really about interacting. It's about really interconnectivity, which is also an answer to VUCA. And I'm looking forward to have more of the solutions, and also learning from you guys, because this is really a different part of the world. We in Germany, we're quite, even the situation is not really nice, and it's really uncertain as well. But still, I really feel for all those of you who are who are not living in this kind of freedom like we have it at least. And I was very happy, Mim, that you approached me. So thanks for the opportunity again. And I think the last famous words should be at you,
Most
right?
welcome. And I have to say thank you, because a few weeks ago we started talking to each other, and we organized this online workshop very fast. And yeah, thank you, because you
are so professional, really. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And I hope to have some more sessions in the future as well.
And if you want to contact on LinkedIn or other platforms, then just go ahead. And you mentioned the email, the website, sorry, and the email, of course, as well. So whenever you like to reach out, then please feel free to do so. Thank you.